I lost 100 pounds without counting calories, points, or macros. And in fact, when I stopped focusing so much on tracking all of the calories, making sure I was doing all the workouts, I started to lose weight. Now, if you've ever quit because you felt like tracking has just been too exhausting for you and you can't keep up with it forever, this is for you, because I'm going to tell you exactly how I lost the weight without dieting. Growing up, I was always the biggest one in my friend group. And looking back now, it's actually funny because I wasn't that big. I just developed earlier. I mean, I'm really curvy and I've been that way ever since I hit puberty. And so I felt so much bigger than my friends. And I have been on so many diets. In fact, the first diet I remember, I was in 7th grade and my dad was doing the Atkins diet. And I was like, oh, I want to lose weight. I feel really big as a 12-year-old. And I started doing the Atkins diet. I mean, I literally was bringing Caesar salads and bacon to school in my lunchbox while all of my friends were having like sandwiches and potato chips. It was really embarrassing. And then by the time I got to high school, I was doing all of the quick fixes, juice cleanses. I even got HCG drops at one point and started doing that. I did so many fasts. I mean, the Master Cleanse. Do you remember the Master Cleanse with lemon juice, maple syrup, cayenne pepper? I literally drank only that for 10 days once. There was even a time where I only ate bacon. I did like a bacon fast. I did an egg fast. I did all of these crazy things in the name of weight loss because I was so desperate to lose the weight. And then after I graduated college, I moved across the country to North Carolina and I became a teacher. And that was a point in my life where I was just so tired of feeling overweight, so tired of all these crash diets. And I was like, I need to do something different. Exercising and eating healthy has always worked for all time. And if I can just stick to that, maybe I can get results. But this was in my early 20s and I was doing it in a very unhealthy way. I was eating really boring foods, just like scrambled eggs, oatmeal, plain chicken breasts, salads, like really boring stuff, steamed broccoli. But when I stopped the crash dieting and then I focused on healthy eating and exercising, I started to get results. But it wasn't maintainable because I was still really restrictive in everything that I was doing. I mean, at that point in my life, I wasn't married and I didn't have kids yet, but I remember I, moved across the country. All of our friends wanted to hang out. We were all doing Teach for America. And every time I got invited to go out, I turned my friends down because I didn't think I would be able to control myself around food. Now, fast forward a little bit, I met my husband, got married. I maintained my weight loss for about a year, but then I got pregnant and then I gained 50 pounds. And then I just felt like a complete failure. And I remember after I had my daughter feeling so self-conscious, so insecure in my own skin. This is actually one of my biggest regrets. I deleted every single photo except one of me and my newborn daughter because I didn't like the way that I looked. And looking back now, I mean, my daughter is 10 now. And I'm like, I only have one photo from that time because I was so insecure. I was so self-conscious. And that breaks my heart. Now we're going to fast forward some more. I ended up losing the weight after I had my daughter, doing the same type of restrictive dieting and exercising, got pregnant with my son, gained all the weight again, lost the weight again. And actually between my second and my third baby, there's a 4-year gap. I lost the baby weight, gained 50 pounds back, and then lost like 20 or 30 of it before I got pregnant again. I was constantly yo-yoing and it took me nearly a decade to realize it was because of the extreme dieting. It was because I was obsessively tracking everything, thinking that I had to be perfect. I was either all on or all off. There was no in between. And I actually didn't even believe that I would be able to get results if I had balance. I thought that balance is something that you practice after you hit your weight loss goal. So I was 20 weeks pregnant with my third baby. And this was when we had moved from Washington to Arizona. And it was the start of COVID. Literally, we moved into this house the day everything closed down. We couldn't even get toilet paper for a month because we didn't pack it with us from Washington State. We moved here expecting to be able to buy toilet paper, but no. Luckily, we got it from the model home for a month. But at 20 weeks pregnant, I remember unpacking my scale in my bathroom, standing on the scale and being over 200 pounds for the first time in my life. I had never been above 200 pounds. Even in my other pregnancies, I never got that high. And at 20 weeks pregnant, being at that point, I felt like the whole world was falling apart because my first thought was, I'm already over 200 pounds. I still have 20 weeks left of pregnancy. I'm just gonna keep gaining even more weight. And I was so defeated. And honestly, I didn't even try to be healthy. I kind of just gave up for those last couple of months. I was eating Chick-fil-A 6 days a week with my kids. I wasn't really exercising. My joints hurt so bad. It was such a rough pregnancy. And I ended that pregnancy pregnancy at around 235 pounds. And by this point, I had lost over 50 pounds. How many times? Let's see. Before I got married, after I had Gretchen, twice after I had Ralph. I had lost over 50 pounds 4 times. And I was so tired. I'm like, I don't want to diet anymore. I hate dieting. It doesn't work. I always gain the weight back. I'm constantly yo-yoing. And I was just fed up. And I was like, you know what, Tasha? I'm just going to give myself a break from dieting. I'm not losing the weight anyway because, I was trying to do all the things that had worked before, but I couldn't stick to it. And so I would maybe lose 5 pounds and then gain back 7 and then lose another 5 and then gain back 3. And I wasn't making any progress. So finally I said, would I rather keep gaining and losing the same weight over and over and over again for the next 6 months, struggle to hit my goal, I have 100 pounds to lose, or would I rather try a different approach? So I decided to give myself a break. I wasn't losing the weight anyway, and I said, I'm gonna give myself a mental break from dieting, and I'm just gonna spend the next month and not try to do anything. I'm just gonna live my life. And the craziest thing happened. I actually started to lose weight. And looking back now, I think it was because I was not anticipating another diet coming. In fact, it's that anticipation of, oh my gosh, restriction is coming again on Monday. Diet's gonna start on Monday, which means now's my opportunity to eat everything and anything in sight. And that was what was causing me to yo-yo and gain so much weight. But when I took the pressure off myself to diet, I just started naturally saying, you know what? I don't really want to eat all this ice cream. I can have more tomorrow because I'm not restricting myself. I was making some healthy choices, but I wasn't overeating as much. Now, I didn't lose a ton of weight that month, but I didn't gain any weight, and I did lose a little bit. And that was kind of my wake-up call to, wow, I could approach weight loss a different way. What if instead I focused on a healthy lifestyle? What if I focused on creating healthy habits one at a time in a way that felt easy? Because I don't want to yo-yo anymore. So what if it takes me a year to lose 50 pounds? I would rather take a year to lose 50 pounds and know that I'm never going to gain it back again, because that is the worst thing ever. Like, I hated feeling so good that, yeah, I lost weight, I hit my goal, and then it started to come back and I gained it back. It sucks. So I just committed to drinking more water. That was literally all I did. For a week straight, all I did was I focused on hitting 1 gallon of water every single day. And in that 1 week, I lost 5 pounds. And then I started saying, you know what? I'm going to add some veggies into my lunch and dinner. I'm going to make sure that I'm eating veggies. I didn't take things away. I added them in. And while I wasn't obsessively like weighing my food or counting calories or looking things up like how many calories are in half a banana, I did keep a food journal and I wrote down everything that I was eating so that I could start to make correlations between what I was eating and how I was feeling and the results that I was getting. And because I didn't try to overhaul my entire life all at once, I was able to stick to it long term. And that's the thing, when you have 100 pounds to lose, it's really hard not to start your journey thinking, oh my gosh, this sucks. It's going to take me forever. I'm going to have to be so perfect for such a long time. I don't know if I can do it. I just took that pressure away. I said, I'm going to focus on a healthy lifestyle, and weight loss became a byproduct of what I was doing. I built a routine around real life and not just willpower. And I started focusing on the actions instead of the results. And in fact, that's actually one thing I tell all of my students in the Body Confidence Academy. That's my signature weight loss program. I teach women literally the step-by-step process that I followed to lose 100 pounds without dieting. It's not a nutrition plan. It's not workouts. It is a mindset program, because really think about it. You know what you need to do to lose weight. I can guarantee you right now, you could tell me exactly what exercises you need to do, how much water you needed to drink, what kinds of food you should be eating. That's not your problem. You know what to do. You're struggling with following through. And how you follow through is you learn how to manage your mindset. So instead of just focusing on pounds lost on a scale, I consider myself successful if I follow through on what I say I'm going to do. If I say I'm going to work out 5 days this week, then I am a winner if I show up for 5 days and I get that workout in. It doesn't matter what the scale says. It matters that I show up, because that's what I have control over. I don't necessarily have control over what the scale says. I mean, the scale can fluctuate for so many reasons. Whether or not you pooped in the morning, how much sleep did you get, where are you at in your cycle, how late did you eat dinner last night, are you sore, are your muscles retaining water? The scale can fluctuate for a lot of reasons, and it's not always the best indicator of success. I mean, I didn't just lose the weight, I gained so much confidence along the way. And a lot of people think once I lose the weight, then XYZ. The joy is in the journey, and it's who you become along the way. It doesn't just magically happen once you hit this point. You are are becoming the person that you choose to be by choosing to follow through on what you tell yourself you're going to do. Now, if you're ready to learn how to lose weight without obsessing over every little calorie and without having to work out for hours a day and without restricting yourself, I'm going to put more information for the Body Confidence Academy down in the description below. If you're interested, you can just click there for more information. And if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, make sure to like and subscribe.